Welcome to the God is Not an Asshole podcast. If you are one of the many people done with religious dogmatism, hang on. You might sense transcendence, but your church or other faith community never seem to get off the ground. You realize that honoring your conscience means more than fitting in and keeping hard to explain rules? Hang on. You could probably think of the goodness in your tradition, and you tried your best to save that baby, but there's so much bathwater. Join your hosts, David Norman Moore Jr. in California and Kerry Connolly in New Jersey, who are collaborating to bring on guests who have found life on the other side of fundamentalism. Guests with stories of how they have liberated themselves from beliefs that divide us from each other. None of our guests' narratives are identical, but we hope you'll find something in common with each of them. We invite you to experience our common bond as we all inspire even more of us to embrace the true self.
Lisa, I don't want to, just push this too far, but there are so many kids, and some of them are young children.
Yes.
So many kids who are teenagers, and of course adults, which comprise the community that you have discovered.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like you could even say more. So just imagine a 10-year-old who is making this discovery. How do you capture that?
So first of all, it's really going to depend on the parents. So is the parent...
Okay, then let me be a little bit more specific.
Okay.
Say the 10-year-old is a Black Pentecostal
Lord.
Child
Yes.
going to church every week.
Yes.
Speak to that.
You're in that story.
And is dad or mom, are they in relationship with the kiddo? They haven't rejected the kiddo. They still want to be a part of the kid's life.
Yeah, let's say they either one, whether it's the mother or the father,
right,
who is lesbian or gay, or trans or whatever. Let's say that the child wants to be in relationship with them, which of course is pretty much a given. And so does that parent.
The parent. Okay. So we have equal partners. We have partners both willing to stay in relationship, but somebody is still going to a Pentecostal church and he's still hearing the things.
Yes.
I would say to that 10-year-old, talk to your parents, talk to the person that is coming out, ask questions, and remember that is your parent and that they love you regardless. They love you unconditionally. They will go through hell and high water for you. That's what matters, is the love they show you, that the love they give you, that the support and how they just surround you with love and support. It's like that is what absolutely matters. That's what matters to a 10-year-old.
I think too, if I were in a situation like that, I would be telling a 10-year-old, hey, there's assholes in the world. And
you would absolutely do that. Yes. You told your 5-year-old daughter that. So
I did tell them that.
Yes.
So yes. But that there are assholes in the world and that you have to be prepared and here's some ways that you can deal with them.
That not everybody is going to agree. This is why not everybody agrees with my decision to do what I want to do or live.
I would also probably include some martial arts training and just say.
Okay. So Lisa, I'm going to, martial arts.
Can't hurt.
I'm going to get more, this is all hypothetical, but of course it's not just hypothetical. I'm going to even go farther. I'm going to give I'm going to say it's a little boy, 10 years old. His name is Jamal.
Hi, Jamal.
Hi, Jamal.
Yeah. And it's 9 a.m. Sunday morning. And he's getting ready to go to church today. Speak something to him.
Jamal, you may hear some things that are in conflict with what's being lived out in your house currently. It is okay to even ask questions of those in your church. They may say things that may hurt because sometimes, unfortunately, grown-ups can be cruel and say things that hurt.
Sure.
Don't take it personally. Jamal, I need you not to internalize the hate they give. I need you to go back and talk to the people that love you and have a conversation with them and tell them, this is what I'm hearing. This is what they're saying at church. And it's like, tell me what's right. Tell me what's true. Tell me what I need to know. And do I have to keep going back to this place where they are telling me that what you are and who you are is wrong? What else is out there for us? And at 10 years old, where is there a safe space for me and my family?
Okay. So now, thank you for that. And so now Jamal feels a little more confident.
Yes.
And so when he goes to church, because of his family's experience,
yes,
his gaydar is on.
Yes.
Church,
yes.
right?
Yes.
And if it's a substantial sized church,
yes,
he's noticing some things.
Yes.
Right? Talk about that.
Oh, you trying to get me in trouble. Okay. So what we know for sure is that there have always been gay people, gay persons, gay bodies in the church. Always. They do the pastor's wife's hair. They're directing the choir. They're playing the instruments. They're leading songs. They have always been. And I'm going to get myself in a lot of trouble, but it's convenient to have those people there doing those things because of their talent and because of their gifts. But shame on us for then condemning and talking about all the things, but then you're reaping the benefits of their skills, gifts, and talents.
Mm-hmm.
So
kind of like white churches do with black bodies.
Right? Tell me about it. So
just,
my.
I mentioned that I'm Church of God in Christ, but that's only technically because I've been shunned, right? I used to preach all over the country, right? And I remember there was this, I'll just say a mega church. I won't be specific.
But of course.
There was this mega church that had a minister of music. They hired a minister of music. He dressed a certain way. His hair was a certain way. And he was, kind of quasi flamboyant, right? Okay. They hired this person.
Yes.
And I remember when I would go there, I saw him, with his instrument, right? But then I remember going back and I had to do a second take because he was groomed differently. He even moved differently. And I thought somebody got to him. Yeah, what is this about, Lisa?
It's like
somebody
I'm gonna need
trained
you to
him
play
up
the
in
part.
masculinity.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so we're filming in Chicago, and I've visited Chicago, and I have a connection there, and there are quite a few affirming Black Pentecostal churches in Chicago.
Yes.
Some of them, they won't, it's not on the door. It's like, we are an affirming church, but you go in and it's a safe space. And so I think that more of that is happening, quiet as it's kept.
I think,
but not
I want to
broadcasting
mention,
it.
I want to mention an organization called Church Clarity right now, because I think it's an amazing resource where you can go, and you can go and look up your church or a church and find out where they land on the affirming spectrum, because there are those that are clear about where they stand, and they either say we are Bible believing,
right,
and therefore that's usually a good code for they're not affirming, to we are celebratory, outright celebratory. Here's our pride flag hanging outside. But somewhere in the middle are those churches that are not all that clear. They might be affirming, but they're not willing to put that out there.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But sometimes what's and then there are the ones who say, oh, we love everybody. You're all welcome. Right. But they're not really affirming. And the problem with both of those situations is that very often what that actually means is that LGBTQ folks are not really welcome to participate fully in the life of the church. So that means they can't get married in the church. They can't be in leadership positions in the church and be openly gay, right? They can be straight. They can pretend to be straight, but they cannot be openly gay and participating fully in the church. And I think it's really important. So churchclarity.org is the resource, and it's
churchclarity.org.
Churchclarity.org. And it's a really, really good resource for that. You know, I'm in talking about this, I'm thinking about a situation, and I'm going to try to be very vague as well. But there was a young guy that was at a church that I was associated with, and he was on the worship team. And he was amazing, like, you know, bringing all of his gifts to the church every single Sunday, and with passion and grace, and just amazing. And then he came out to the pastor and was immediately removed from the worship team. And I remember a few weeks later, seeing a video of him. He went to his boyfriend's church, who is now his husband, and his boyfriend, but this guy was white, his boyfriend was black, and his boyfriend went to a black church. And that church was affirming, and that church let that guy sing, and he was singing and praising his heart out. And all I could think is, that's what we stopped this guy from doing. That's what we stopped this guy from doing. Which do you think God is going to be more upset? You know, God is going to be more upset about the fact that we told this guy, oh no, you're no longer allowed to worship your heart out, or the fact that you're loving in a loving relation. It just made no sense to me. Made no sense.
You know, you mentioned Chicago. I'm just wondering. Okay, so you know, I'm closer to LA, and
I'm
one
from
of the
LA.
biggest. Oh, okay. So then you know that one of the biggest black churches in LA is the one led by Noel Jones.
Yes.
Yes. You've probably been there.
I have not been. So
Okay.
I've been out of LA for a minute, but I'm very familiar. Very, very familiar.
Okay. So they don't have to say it, but I mean, Noel Jones' sister is Grace Jones.
Yes. And Grace
The
Jones
Grace Jones?
The Grace Jones.
The Grace Jones.
fabulous,
Wow.
the one and only Grace Jones.
And you can see Grace Jones in Noel Jones. I mean, in his preaching, you know, you can see the Grace Jones in him. Anyway.
They are siblings. Absolutely.
And so I think that their church provides something of a prophetic witness in the black community in LA to challenge the norms, because they're not, you know, pushing this heteronormativity that so many black churches push. In a similar way, but not exactly the same, a generation earlier, Reverend James Cleveland, right?
Yes.
He was gay.
Yes, he was. Very much so.
And so gay folks just flooded his church.
Yes, they did. They did.
And other churches preached against their church.
Yes, they did.
But they provided a prophetic witness. So I am wondering if in Chicago, if churches like Trinity United, where Jeremiah Wright was the pastor, and he retired, now it's Otis Moss III.
Yes.
I wonder if churches like that are influencing other churches.
You would have to ask my Chicago Connect. I am not deeply entrenched. I do not know. My guess would be yes. It's some of the churches, you know, they've all, again, gay and lesbian bodies, LGBT community. We've always been in the church. It's not new that we're there. That's not new. That's not new.
I think.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think that I know, I'm not even going to say I think. I can't speak for the black church specifically, but I can say that among the evangelical world, in the evangelical world, I do know, in the big mega churches, right? I do know that there has been for some time a movement that started off a little bit on the down low, and has since expanded greatly to help provide a system of support for pastors who wanted to move their church from, and I know this because the divinity degree that I received was birthed out of the organization that was started for these pastors, right? And so I know that there is this movement toward really working toward becoming open and affirming. What I am not sure of is whether church can survive the damage done already.
That's a valid question. That's valid. That's valid. And again, my whole premise for creating the film is wanting people to see the collateral damage, to see what this has done to real people, real families, real relationships.
Thank you.
And how now these people have to go out in the world. And, we always like to say that hurt people, and just how we just continue this cycle of trauma, of hurt. I want to be a voice. I want you to see what happened, because this is loosely based on my life. And I think I told Kerry this. So while the initial story of closetedness, of being rejected, of daddy issues, because I can definitely tell you about daddy issues and how to, that whole healing process, what that looks like and how it's a continual process, right? I can tell you about that journey. These characters really had their own story to tell. So once I started writing, they evolved in ways. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to sit here and type, and the story's going to go where the story's going to go. But it really is, this is what happened to me, more or less. This is how I kind of had to grow up, with this rejection of a father, who was not capable, who did not have the emotional bandwidth to love me in a way that I needed to be loved, to raise my sister and I in a healthy environment, because, there was addiction at some point, and, just anger and just all these things. And so what does that do to a kiddo? What does that do to a kiddo?
What does that do?
Have you done any sort of autoethnography kind of work, where done the digging to say what were the things, the family structures that he grew up in? Mm-hmm. Did he identify as he?
He did.
Okay.
So,
I want to use the correct pronoun, but,
yes.
So have you done that? And has that done anything to foster your own healing?
So as you know, sometimes the generation before you, our lovely boomers, they are silent. Indeed. They don't like to talk about what happened when, and trying to get those stories out. Not difficult. So what I'm having to do was piece things together. So I do know that he was mistreated as a young kid. I've heard stories about him being locked in a pantry, in a house in LA, with mice and roaches and things of that nature. So I've heard that story from him, but then I had his brother tell me, "Oh, that's a lie. That never happened." What do you do with that? What do you do? So I have, the person who said he experienced the trauma, and another person said that never happened. I do know that him being gay was an open secret. It's something everybody knew, except for my mama and except for us, who did not find out until later, much later. And so that I don't have much to go. I do know that he had his youngest brother. I think Michael was the baby. He was also a gay man. I don't believe he was closeted, and he died during the AIDS epidemic in the 90s. He was a young man. So Michael was beautiful.
So your healing journey has really been in isolation, or aside from the community that you've discovered as a result of it, but it's been in isolation.
It has been in isolation. It has been me, a therapist on occasions to walk through, and me journaling,
and writing a movie.
It that really has helped. And this movie, a lot of people might think that it is an indictment against my father and that it is retaliatory. It is a love letter to my dad on how I wish things could have been. Yeah. That I see you. I see what you went through. I see the societal norms. I know the church rhetoric. I know all of that. And I still wanted you. You could have lived openly with a gay man and had a dog named Fifi. I would have been fine with you and Pierre and Fifi. So it really is it's a love letter. And it's like, I wish things could have been different. I wish that society could have been kinder to you. I wish that you would have been able to live your truth so that you could have had these beautiful, healthy relationships. That it is my love letter to my father. It is not an indictment. It is, here, let me see if I can help another Walter. Can I help save another Kelly? Can I help another family in the throes of chaos? Because this is still happening. I had somebody respond to me on a Facebook page, Black man, 40 years old. He says, this is my truth and what I'm currently going through. He says, I finally found the strength to come out and to live my truth.
He was the spawn or he was the gay person?
He's a gay man, 40-year-old Black gay man who says, this is my truth and I'm finally coming out.
Which right there is a reason that this film has to get made. It has to get made. So let's talk in our last few minutes a little bit about, I know that you have some amazing cast and crew working with you on this film. And I know that you have a crowdfunding campaign right now. Let's talk about that. Tell us about the cast and crew.
So I have a beautiful woman, Catherine J. Hatam, who is my producer. She worked on films such as Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. She's worked on some other big name projects, and she has been such a godsend. And it's beautiful how we met. We met through my CPA. I asked my CPA a question and says, oh, you have to meet this person. And she jumped right on board and said, yes, loved the story. And so we've got some cast and crew already assigned. I have a wonderful DP, director of photography, Brandon Jones. Branding is amazing. We've worked on projects together. And it is true. You work with people you know, like, and love, trust, and I know, like, and trust Brandon with this project we'll work together and capture the vision. So we've, some small parts we went ahead and assigned and cast. And I'll be brief. The thing about movie making, yes, it is expensive. Now, had this been a documentary, I probably would have been funded by now and been done. But because I am a Black woman doing a feature film,
So in other words, what you're saying is that those of us who want to be proactive about supporting Black female creatives, and very purposefully doing that work is almost a form of personal reparations. So it would be a good idea for us to do that.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
Yeah. So the crowdfunding link would be below.
I wonder what would it take for you to be able to cross paths with an Angela Bassett or an Ava DuVernay?
Can I be honest? Those are closed networks.
Yeah.
Those are closed networks. The Viola Davis also has a production company. Queen Latifah has a production company. Those, unfortunately, are closed networks. So this is going to be a grassroots effort. So here's the beautiful thing. Once it gets done, and it just needs to get done. It just needs to get done, and it needs to be out there. Then I have proof of concept. I've done documentaries. I've done several documentaries, but a feature film is completely different. And so once this film gets completed, then maybe some other doors will open.
Okay,
but
what do you need
so
for it
you
to get
mentioned
completed?
Queen Latifah.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be a natural connection?
You would think, but no.
Because you know what? Just
yes.
Point of trivia. One of those mega churches that I preached in, Queen Latifah was in the audience.
Hey.
One of those days.
Wow.
Which I'm still trying to figure out how this works because we still met at church. It's just the most amazing thing how we're able to put a filter up or something.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But I'm just wondering why why isn't that a natural connection for Lisa Alexander?
there's more than 6 degrees of separation at this point. And I'm grateful for the people that I have contact with. I'm partnering with an organization in Chicago called Black Alphabet. So they do a film festival. So they are fundraising on our behalf. We have a fundraiser coming up November 3rd, I'm sorry. And I'll share those details as we get them. And so it's about crowdfunding. It's about, I'll tell you so what will it take to get a Queen Latifah, Viola Davis, get their attention? It would be having a named talent attached to the film. So let's say Billy Porter signs on. Let's say somebody of that caliber, a Gabrielle Union, somebody of that nature signs on to the project and gives us.
Oh, that would be perfect.
Wouldn't it though? I think so.
Indeed. We can put that out to the universe.
She just did,
yes,
the movie, The Inspection, which was phenomenal. Oh, if you have not seen The Inspection, please see the film. It is an beautifully done
everybody,
film.
You heard it. Watch The Inspection.
Beautiful.
But especially watching My Father, the Queen. I mean, you know what? I'm going to say that before I knew anything about you and before Kerry ever mentioned this movie, I thought this title is going to go places. You know, I mean, it just says too much, just the title.
Thank you.
Yes. So Lisa, tell us where people can go to donate to,
Sure.
like, what are all the places where they can find out more
Go
about
to www.fundmyfatherthequeen.com. That will lead you to the website. That'll lead you to my website, lisanalexander.com. You can donate there. The thing about this particular donation site, you do have to register or create an account before you can give. So if you would just please go through that, cross that hurdle and then donate, that would be able. And we have great giveaways as well. You can get a signed copy of the script at a certain level.
Ooh.
Oh, there's all kinds of good stuff.
Ooh.
Oh, yes. Good stuff.
Good stuff. Awesome. Well, Lisa, as always, I could talk to you for hours and hours about so many different things. One of these days we'll do it in person.
Day.
So thank you so much
Absolutely.
for being a guest. And I cannot wait to see this film.
Thank you so much.
And I will say, because you mentioned boomers, I will say that if you ever want to bounce something off of a boomer, reach out to me. I'll be here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It just made me really happy. Thank you. Thank you. And you're in LA too,
Awesome.
right? Are you still in LA?
I'm in Santa Barbara, so,
Okay.
not that
Thank
far.
That means a lot. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, people come to Santa Barbara all the time, so this is a natural. You can come up and we can hang out.
Thank you. Will do.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much for being here today. We are people who have left behind performance-based religion and the shame that comes with it. Maybe you have a personal liberation story to tell, and we want to know about it. Please contact us on Twitter at GodIsNotAnAsshole or text 805-703-8393 because the world needs to know that God is not an asshole.